And we're back. Hall here with another Hall of Code lesson. We're going to look at width and height. Then we're going to also take a look at float and clear. The width property sets the width of an element. The height property sets the height of an element. Width is usually defined in pixels or in percentages. We're oftentimes used to change the size of an image or a div or forms or buttons. You also have what we call viewpoint, and it could be viewpoint width or viewpoint height, and that's usually the browser size, the browser's window size. All right, so we're going to create an H1, and I'm just going to call this image, and inside of this image H1 I'm going to create a image tag. Now I just saved an image from Pexels, and as you can see, here's the image. Is very large. I'm going to give it an alternate name here. I'll just say image. All right, so what if I wanted to change the size of this image? We're going to say width, and we're going to say 50%. And as you can see, now the image is much smaller. Notice that it's proportionate width and height. So you don't have to type width and height. You only have to type one, and the other one would automatically resize. What if I change that from percentages to pixels? Look how small that is. I'll change it to, let's say, 500 pixels. Okay. And what if I decided to add the height? You don't necessarily have to do this. Okay, because now look at the image is distorted. So I don't necessarily have to type height and width, especially if I want my image to be proportionate. Okay, so I can just say height, and let's go back to 500. And as you can see, the image is still proportionate. Now we're going to talk about float and clear. The float property is used to position and format content, usually images. If you want to make an image go to the right, you can type in float, and then you'll put in the word right, and it'll automatically send that image to the right. Clear property specifies what should happen when the element that is next to the floating element. And you have left, right, and none for float. Then you have none, left, right, both for clear. All right, let's go back to the HTML, and I am going to put a paragraph, and we're gonna go lorem 100, and now I have my image. All right, and then so for my image, I want that image, I'm gonna change the width, and let's make it a little bit smaller. Let's go 300 pixels, and I'm going to put float and right. All right, now the image is now over to the right, but I want the image to be at the top of the paragraph. Okay, so we'll go there. So now you can see that my image is now floated over to the right. If I change float from right to left, you'll see that my image is now floated over to the left. Okay, and then what if I wanted to add a clear? So we'll say paragraph clear left. Now my paragraph is below to the left hand side. It's hard to kind of see, but it's over to the left. Let's take some of those words out of the paragraph to kind of let you see it a little bit better. Okay, so that those words are over to the left. All those words back in, and we'll float the image to the right, and we don't want to clear it. We want to leave it blank. All right. Now, let's add a div, and inside the div, I'm just gonna put a number 2 in there. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna style this div with width, we'll say 50 pixels, height 100 pixels, and background color yellow. All right, so as you can see, here is a div that's got 50 pixels of width, 100 pixels of height. If I change that, let's go 500 pixels of width. Now you can see my div size is changing. Okay, and so I can change the height. Let's go 500. There you go. All right, let's go back and put that to probably 100, and we'll go 100 width, 100 height. Also, I'm going to create a button. I'm not going to do a whole form, just a button. And what you could do here is I'll put a line break in there, and then we can do some other things. And we'll say button. We'll go background color light blue, and we'll go width 200 pixels. All right, and we can also change the height of your button, 150 pixels. Okay, and so now, well, that kind of looks a little distorted. We'll go 50 pixels. So now we have a button with 200 pixels of width and 50 pixels of height. We have our images that can be floated to the left or floated over to the right. We can also create a div box with width and height, and we can also clear. Let's go back to the paragraph again, and let's clear right. And so now your paragraph is down at the bottom.